It's that time again. Flight 8 is nearly here. What's left before the launch? Starship assembly is moving fast and new FAA updates could shake up the timeline. Plus, GigaBay is officially happening at the Cape and Blue Origin's next rockets are already taking shape. My name is Felix, welcome to What About It. Let's dive right in. Starship updates. SpaceX is in the final stretch of preparing Ship 34 and Booster 15 for Flight 8. The FAA review is still ongoing, but major moves at Starbase suggest that SpaceX is preparing for an early March launch attempt. Cryo tests on both ship and booster are done. The next step is a spin prime and then a full static fire test. Here comes the first big news for today. We saw Booster 15 move out of the high bay early Saturday morning and head towards the launch site where preparations for Flight 8 will begin, presumably with an engine purge, a spin prime test and a static fire of Booster 15's engines. We can infer a lot from this development. Firstly, we now know that SpaceX won't reuse Booster 14 quite yet. Instead, we'll get to see another brand new shiny Block 1 booster with engine upgrades go through its pre-launch testing campaign and ultimately carry Ship 34 for Flight 8. Currently, road closures were scheduled for the day before this video comes out. These sometimes indicate possible static fires, and that's exactly what happened. Booster 15 conducted a successful static fire just days after being rolled out to the launch site. Flight 8 is almost ready to go, but before SpaceX gets the green light, one major hurdle remains: the FAA investigation. This review hinges on structural reinforcements for Ship 34, which were stress tested at Massey's with Can Crusher 2.0. SpaceX has been aggressively testing at Massey's to ensure Flight 8 doesn't repeat Flight 7's mistakes. The biggest issue? The leak and corresponding pressure failure that caused Ship 34 to disintegrate. But once the green light is given, the last major step before launch is Ship 34's static fire test. Stacking day could be just around the corner. Again. Can Crusher 2.0's purpose is stress testing those exact weak points on Test Tank 16. If the modifications live up to their promises, Flight 8 is good to go. If not, SpaceX could be looking at last-minute changes or even another delay. Even as Pad A is refurbished for the upcoming spectacle of Flight 8, the overall launch site is evolving fast, with the flame trench taking shape and key infrastructure moving into place for Pad B. This plays a critical role in Starship's success. A second ramp has been installed and excavation near the utility trench is expanding. Meanwhile, at the build site, the Star Factory exterior is changing. The old but technically brand new garage mural is being removed after damage was sustained during inclement weather in previous weeks. It's a shame, really. The mural was one of Starbase's unique and most admired features. What will SpaceX replace it with? And while there is not much visible progress on the new launch table, SpaceX tends to move fast. I'd expect a few surprises soon. Shifting our attention back to the build site, we can see more updates to future Starship prototypes. Ship 36, currently slated to be the star of Flight 10, had its payload dispenser moved into Megabay 2 at the build site for installation. We've yet to find out which Super Heavy booster it will be paired with. Meanwhile, an old friend continued its farewell to late last week as Ship 32 was moved into the high bay, where it will presumably be scrapped. It never got to go through a full flight campaign and was overtaken by advancements in Ships 33 and 34. SpaceX moves so fast sometimes that even entire rockets get upgraded and replaced as they are being built. When was the last time you saw a rocket company stop building an entire rocket prototype, start building a new one, and then send that one to space instead of the first one? And we also keep hearing the word Giga everywhere, but for SpaceX. Before we get into that, we've looked into our channel metrics and they show over 4 million returning monthly viewers who have not subscribed yet. Help improve the channel and double check that you've hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with our updates. It's free and it helps us bring you even better content. Secure your access to up to 7 picture galleries per week, satellite, aerial and ground photos and 3D animations, chat with me and gain more insights on the topic you love. You feel like doing something crazy? Check out redlineheli.com/Felix for a once-in-a-lifetime experience and $25 off flying in a helicopter above Starbase. The Redline helicopter team is waiting for you. They'll show you the same views our photographers get on their Starbase flights. Now back to the GigaBay and what that means. It's official, the GigaBay is coming. This will be SpaceX's largest assembly facility ever, and construction is set to begin in April 2025 at the Roberts Road facility. That's here at the Cape. We already talked about that, but what does that actually mean? GigaBay isn't just about size, it's about scale. SpaceX isn't just building a bigger starbase, they are laying the groundwork for a production machine that could outpace Boca Chica fast. More ships, faster builds, and potentially higher launch cadence. And there is room to fit 2 of these gigantic buildings at the Roberts Road facility if needed. Will SpaceX actually consider this option once Florida's Roberts Road facility is fully operational? Can you imagine a fully stacked Starship indoors? What about multiple? The only thing even close in size currently comparable to what the GigaBay could be is NASA's Vehicle Assembly Building. It is truly gargantuan. And this building is from the 60s. As we've previously seen, FAA filings confirm the construction window will be from this April to August 2026, with site clearing already underway. Phase 2 will add a 1.5 million square foot vehicle processing facility, which could effectively be Star Factory 2.0. This is a big deal. Starbase is landlocked in a sense, and SpaceX is limited to what they can really build at that location, but they can still make iterative improvements. Roberts Road gives SpaceX the freedom and land to dream bigger, and they'll be able to configure the facility in ways that Starbase is unable to support. While SpaceX builds Starship's future factory, they are also reshaping how Falcon 9 boosters return home. They're making big changes to their Falcon 9 recovery operations, shifting booster landings closer to launch sites. This means no more reliance on leased Air Force land and fewer bureaucratic delays. Instead, Falcon 9 boosters will land at LC-39A and Slick 40, right next to where they launch. This should speed up refurbishment, reduce transport costs, and streamline operations for SpaceX's rapidly growing launch cadence. The company is constructing brand new Falcon 9 landing zones at both LC-39A and Slick 40. This means Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy boosters will soon touch down right next to their launch sites, streamlining recovery operations and giving a much better view of landings. Currently, there is no line of sight to the landing zones, but with these sites there will be. SpaceX is consolidating landings at its own site, but that comes with challenges. Because doesn't that mean there will be conflict in launch scheduling? Excellent question, there might be. SpaceX might need new scheduling tricks to keep everything moving smoothly. That means faster turnaround times for booster refurbishments and fewer logistical hurdles for future missions. By keeping booster recovery operations on site, SpaceX eliminates the need for long-distance transports from LZ-1 and LZ-2 back to the hangars. The result? This could push Falcon 9 reusability even further, potentially cutting booster turnaround times below 21 days. SpaceX is basically saying, why rent when you can own? Falcon 9 boosters will now be landing right next to their launch sites, and that means one thing: more launches, less downtime. And let's be real, at that rate they might as well start installing traffic lights at the Cape. Alright, love is in the air, and the thing we shouldn't fall for are endless spam calls, emails, and having our personal data sold to strangers. Want to protect your privacy? Meet Incogni. I'm not alone in this. Nearly half of Americans want to erase their online data. Our biggest concern? Financial data. 64% of people want it removed and 76% fear hackers stealing it. That's why Incogni is my perfect match for data privacy, working in the background to ensure our personal information stays personal. Everything is fully automated with Incogni. Sign up, grant permission, and let them track down data brokers and handle removal requests. While you can concentrate on the heartfelt messages from actual loved ones, not spam calls. Like a Cupid for protecting my privacy. Take your personal data back with Incogni. Use code Felix at the link below and get 60% off an annual plan. Show yourself some love this Valentine's Day and switch out the special offers with messages from real loved ones. Protect your privacy and at the same time support What About It. Another Starlink mission is on the horizon, and this one marks the 16th flight for its Falcon 9 first stage booster. This veteran rocket has already launched AX-2, Euclid, AX-3, CRS-30, Astra 1P, NG-21 and 9 other missions. Once again proving that SpaceX's booster reusability is redefining orbital access. After stage separation, the booster will aim for a landing on Just Read the Instructions, stationed off the coast of the Bahamas. And if you happen to be one of the lucky guys to be there, you might hear the boom, literally. And I didn't say anything wrong there. SpaceX's presence in the Bahamas extends beyond Starlink. It could be a stepping stone toward a larger aerospace footprint in the Caribbean. With Starlink's expansion across the islands and increasing collaboration on drone ship operations, could offshore launch facilities be next? Sonic booms from Falcon 9 landings aren't new, but this one is different. SpaceX has been working closely with the Bahamas as part of an effort to integrate drone ship operations, splashdowns, and satellite connectivity infrastructure into the region. With Starlink already expanding internet access across the islands, this growing partnership could pave the way for new aerospace opportunities, local job creation, and even future support for offshore launch operations. And that could be very interesting. So if you're sitting on a Bahamian beach and suddenly hear a sonic boom crack across the sky, don't panic. That's just the sound of the future arriving. SpaceX's Super Heavy boosters are very loud when returning from space. This might be SpaceX mitigating a problem before it comes up. What do you think? Will we see Starship boosters land at the Cape, or will they aim for the tropical paradise instead? Let me know in the comments. And while SpaceX is dominating the headlines, Blue Origin isn't slowing down either. They checked off a major milestone. New Glenn reached orbit, and the company isn't wasting any time before the next one. The transport erector is back inside the integration facility for post-launch refurbishment, and NG-2 is already targeted for a Q2 2025 launch. Yes! This means we won't have to wait long to see whether Blue Origin can repeat the successful orbital insertion from the last flight and stick the landing, literally. The same as NG-1, the next flight will attempt a first stage recovery again, giving us a much clearer picture of how reusable New Glenn really is. But here's the bigger picture. Rocket Park isn't just about New Glenn anymore. With over 3.2 million square feet of expansion planned, the real question is, what else is Blue Origin building? I mean, seriously, I've been driving past this growing facility many times and it's growing. It keeps growing. It's huge, huge. And it's not just the rocket that's growing. Blue Origin's entire Cape Canaveral presence is expanding fast. This isn't just about New Glenn. The sheer scale of Blue Origin's expansion raises the question, are we looking at the foundation for New Armstrong? If Rocket Park is gearing up for a next-gen heavy-lift rocket, it means Bezos isn't just playing catching up, he is playing for dominance. That's enough space to turn New Glenn production into a full-scale machine. Again, I've been there many times, this is huge. The company is gearing up to manufacture not just New Glenn, but future lunar landers and next-gen rockets. Lunar Plant 1 will produce Blue Moon landers for NASA's Artemis program, while the next hardware integration facility could be the first step toward building Blue Origin's rumored next heavy-lift rocket, potentially New Armstrong. That last one is key because Blue Origin isn't just focused on New Glenn anymore, it's already gearing up for whatever comes next. And that raises another question, is this all just for New Glenn? Or are we looking at the early signs of something bigger? While SpaceX has given us the gift of Starship testing entirely out in the open, details on Blue Origin's New Armstrong Super Heavy concept remain highly secretive and kept under wraps. So we'll just have to wait and see. One thing is for sure, this isn't just a simple factory upgrade. Blue Origin is playing the long game, and their next big move could be just around the corner. Beyond SpaceX and Blue Origin, other players are expanding rapidly. Stoke is betting everything on full reusability. They're also only the second company to successfully develop an engine with a full-flow staged combustion cycle. Nova's second stage will return without parachutes, using an aerospike engine to land vertically, something no other company has pulled off. Stoke seems to be the only provider out there moving at anywhere close to SpaceX's speed in terms of development and iteration. At Slick 16, Relativity Space is steadily building out the infrastructure for Terran R, their fully reusable 3D printed rocket. The horizontal integration facility is taking shape, allowing the rocket to be assembled and prepared indoors before being moved to the launch pad. Meanwhile, major work is underway on the flame trench, which will channel the exhaust away from the rocket during launches. With a planned 13-engine booster and a high payload capacity, Terran R could directly compete with Falcon 9 in the commercial launch market. All that is happening so fast. United Launch Alliance is in the final stages of preparing an Atlas V rocket for an upcoming mission that will deploy the first batch of operational Amazon Project Kuiper satellites. This will be a critical first step toward Amazon's long-term goal of creating a global satellite broadband network. The Kuiper constellation, planned to include over 3,200 satellites, aims to bring high-speed internet to underserved regions worldwide. Jeff Bezos isn't just launching satellites, he's going after Starlink. The first batch of Amazon's Kuiper satellites is heading to orbit soon, aiming to compete directly with SpaceX's Starlink network. But here's the question: can Amazon launch fast enough to catch up? Or will Starship's rapid deployment give SpaceX an insurmountable lead? NASA is making steady progress on the massive Mobile Launcher 2, ML2, which will be critical for Artemis 4 and beyond. Tower segments are being stacked and various support systems for fueling, power and crew access are being installed. Standing at over 350 feet, this new mobile launcher will handle the more powerful SLS Block 1B, which features an upgraded upper stage for heavier payloads. Is it ever going to be used though? We'll have the latest updates on SLS a bit later in the episode. Speaking of Mars, particularly rovers, the Perseverance team made an announcement on its X account. And what it shared with the world is quite spectacular. My 26th sample, known as Silver Mountain, has textures unlike anything we've seen before, it said, and posted this photo of the sample. Did the rover say that? But why is this rocket so special? I mean, Mars is full of rocks, right? NASA scientists believe that the rocks in the area Perseverance is currently in have been thrust up to the surface after a huge asteroid impact that happened billions of years ago. That could mean that the rover's latest find could be among the oldest rocks found anywhere in the solar system, and a piece of the early Martian crust. So this rock is kind of a window into Mars's ancient history. NASA's Artemis program has long relied on the Space Launch System, or SLS, as its workhorse for deep space exploration. But now there are signs that future production may not be guaranteed. According to reporting from Eric Berger at Ars Technica, Boeing has internally informed employees that NASA may end its contracts for future SLS core stages after Artemis 4. Wait, wasn't there supposed to be more? This would be a major shift in NASA's plans, raising questions about what will replace it. The Space Launch System, or SLS, remains NASA's primary launch vehicle for Artemis missions to the moon, but its high costs and long development timelines have led to growing discussions about alternative approaches, like cheaper and faster. While Artemis 3 and 4 remain locked in with SLS, anything beyond that is now uncertain. This doesn't mean SLS is going away overnight, but if NASA is already evaluating its long-term future, we have to ask, what's next for Artemis? If SLS contracts are cut after Artemis 4, future missions could rely more on commercial vehicles like SpaceX's Starship, which NASA has already selected for Artemis lunar landings. There's also potential for Blue Origin's New Glenn or other heavy lift alternatives to play a large role. One major factor in NASA's decision: cost. Reports estimate that each SLS launch costs over $4 billion, significantly more than emerging reusable alternatives. Starships are estimated to launch for $5 to $10 million, which would be a fraction of the SLS price tag. Even if it ends up being 10 times that price, it would still be a bargain. This is going to be a key moment for NASA. Does it continue investing in SLS, or does it shift focus toward a more commercially driven model? NASA has yet to make an official announcement, and any final decision will likely depend on budget approvals and political considerations. Boeing is expected to push hard to maintain its role in Artemis, but the agency is clearly re-evaluating its options for deep space transportation. What do you think? Should NASA continue with SLS for future Artemis missions, or is it time to pivot toward newer commercial solutions? Let us know in the comments. Before you answer, remember that these discussions were started long before Musk got involved in politics. As NASA weighs its next steps, the future of Artemis remains in flux, and we'll be watching closely for updates. That's it for today. Remember to smash that like button, subscribe for more. This is what fuels the algorithm. This is how you can help us for free. Check out our epic shirts in your favorite Space Nerd store. A new Raptor design and our brand new Starship Block 2 design are both up. Link is in the description and in the card you should see now. Also check out our print store at shop.whataboutit.space to buy a picture for your favorite wall. A significant amount of every purchase goes directly to our photographer. And if you want to learn more about the fascinating story of SpaceX's Raptor 3 engine, watch this video next to continue your journey. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next episode. That could out and what? It's for future as LT39A. Exterior is charging. And for the upcoming spectacle. Democratic delays. LT39A. This is a big deal. It is truly gargantuan. It keeps growing. It's huge, huge.